boys and girls. Today we're going to learn about in and out tables. Mrs. Thompson likes doing these because these are kind of a math mystery or a puzzle that you get to figure out. So our first picture up here is a rule machine, and you see the arrows. We're going to put in a number into the machine. Something's going to happen. The rule is going to change the number, and out pops a new number. So over here on our table, we have an in column and we have an out column. So in my first example, if I take 1 and put it into my machine, what's going to happen that out pops the number 3? I look at my numbers and I think, how is my number changing from 1 to 3? And I know when I go to from 1 to 3, my number is getting larger. So I'm going to take a guess that my rule is using addition. When we talk about addition in math, our numbers are growing. So if I put 1 in my machine and out pops 3, I know that it's changed by 2. 1 plus 2 is 3. I can check my work by writing an equation. Let's try the next example to make sure that our rule, adding 2, is correct. If I put 4 in my machine and I add 2, I should get 6. 4 plus 2 equals 6. Let's use our third example. If I put 7 in my machine and add 2, 7 plus 2 equals 9. Now in the next example, I have to figure out what the out number is. So if I put 8 in, 8 plus 2 is 10. So I'm going to fill in my table. My out number is 10. In my last example, if I put 12 in and I add 2, 12 plus 2 is 14. All of my equations show that my numbers are getting bigger by 2 every time they go through the rule machine. Now let's take a look at my pink chart over here. On this one, it's very similar, but there's something different about our rule. Here's my in column, my out. My first example, if I put 4 into my machine, out is going to pop number 1. So I look at that and I say, if I'm going from 4 to 1, my number is not getting larger. It is getting smaller. So I'm using subtraction. So I think that my rule is going to use subtraction. And I know on a number line, if I were to put my finger on 4 and do bunny hops all the way back to number 1, I know that I would make 3 hops. So I'm going to try my rule of -3. If I put 4 in my machine and I take away 3, 4 minus 3 equals 1. If I try my next one, if I put 5 in and I take away 3, 5 minus 3 equals 2. So far my rule is correct. Let's try again. If I put 8 in my machine, 8 minus 3 is 5. Now I have to figure out my out number on this one. So if I put 7 in my machine, 7 minus 3 is 4. I'm going to fill in my table. My last one, if I put 10 in my machine and I take away 3, 10 minus 3 is going to be 7. So all my examples here, my numbers are getting smaller by 3. And I need to do this work over here to check my thinking, to show my math work. And my last one, this is where it's going to get a little bit trickier, but I think you can do it. And before you start this one, I want you to make sure that your family has printed a hundreds number grid. It's in the Google Classroom, but I think that's really going to help you on this one because as you can see, we're going to use double-digit numbers. So when I take a look at my first one, I have the number 14, and I'm going to go to the number 24. Now when I look, Mrs. Thompson drew a picture of our hundreds grid if I zoomed in on the number 14. Now, I did this to help you because what do you notice about these two numbers? I notice that in my ones column, my digits are staying the same. But in my tens column, I'm changing. So when I look at my zoomed in number grid, if I look at 14, all my ones digits are going to stay the same, but if I'm changing my tens digit, it's getting bigger by 1. We know that when we look at a number and we go down one box on the number grid, we're adding 10. So when I move down a box, I'm adding 10. So here I went from the number 14. 14 plus 10 would give me 24. Now let's look here. I zoomed in on my number grid again to look at the number 27. My ones columns are going to stay the same. I'm sorry, the ones digits staying the same. If I look here on my number grid, all my ones are staying the same in this column. When I look at my tens digit, it's getting bigger by 1. When I look at my number in my number grid on my tens digit, if the number is getting bigger than 1, I'm moving down on a box and I'm adding 10. So if I'm going from 27, move down one box to 37, I'm adding 10. So let's see if our rule could be add 10 based on our observation of what we know of our number grid. So if I put in 30 into my rule machine, out would pop 40. 30 plus 10, 30 plus 10 would in fact give me my 40. Now let's try this one to see if our plus 10 rule works. 15 plus 10 would be 25. Now you can think, this 1 right here really means a 10. This 1 right here really means a 10. 10 plus 10 would give me my 20. And then I could say 5 plus 0 is my 5. Let's try one more time. 56. My rule is add 10. 56 plus 10 is 66. I just have to change my tens digit. Then make sure that you fill in your out column. So 15 plus 10 would be 25. And 56 plus 10 would be 66. So on this in and out table, the relationship is that every number gets bigger by 10. There's one more example on your practice worksheet, and I don't want to give you any hints because I want to challenge you to try it all by yourself, but I'm anxious to see what rule you come up with for the try this on your math sheet. I look forward to seeing your work. Have a good day, guys.